Now, most people think promotions go to the hardest worker, the most competent person, and the person who never drops the ball. This sounds logical, but I'm telling you, it's all wrong. Because promotions don't go to the person who does the most work. They go to the person who makes leadership feel easier. And if you've ever watched someone with less experience, fewer qualifications, or weaker results move up faster than you, well, it's not because they're better, but it's because they're playing a different game. And I've helped more than 250 people get promoted. I've advised founders, CEOs, and executive hiring teams. And one thing I can tell you with certainty is this: hard work gets you trusted, but it does not get you promoted. So in this video, I'm going to show you the real habits that signal leadership, the ones that quietly separate the people who stay stuck from the people who get promoted time and time again. So if you're tired of being dependable but overlooked, this will change how you think about your career. So habit number 1 is this: let people see your work. And being good at your job is just not enough. You have to make your impact visible, because most people think promotions come from doing more output, more hours, more reliability. But promotions just don't go to the person who does the most work. They go to the person whose value is easiest to see and explain. Because you've got to think about it like this: your career is a bit like a department store. You can have the best product in the store, the highest quality, most reliable, the most proven results. But if it's sitting at the back with no display, no sign, no explanation, well, no one buys it. And that's kind of how promotions work. Because most people spend all of their energy improving the product, so they get better at the work, they deliver more, they stay dependable, but very few people move their value into the shop window. Because visibility isn't bragging, it's clarity. It's making sure your manager can clearly say what you're working on, why it matters, and what results it's driving. Because if they can't explain your impact in a sentence, they can't justify promoting you. And you have to remember this: your execution creates value, but your visibility, well, that's what makes you promotable. Okay, so if this is hitting a little close to home already, hit the like button so that I know this content is the wake-up call you need to make sure you get promoted in 2026. Okay, so habit number 2 is this: think beyond the here and now. So you have to stop operating only in today mode and start operating in today plus tomorrow plus next month. Because high performers are stuck reacting. They're clearing what's urgent, they're fixing what just broke, and they're solving the problem right in front of them. And because you're good at it, you just stay there. So think about it like this: do you remember at the arcade the game called Whack-A-Mole? You know, where the little mole pops up in one of those 9 little holes and you've got to whack it with the little hammer that you're holding? Well, it's a bit like that. But instead of a pretend mole, it's a problem at work that keeps popping up. You hit it, another pops up. You hit that too, and you just stay busy. At the end of the day, you're tired, you're exhausted. But has anything actually really moved forward in the business? Because from the outside, leadership doesn't see any progress. They just see someone trapped in a reactive loop. And you have to remember this: leaders aren't playing whack-a-mole. They're asking why the mole keeps popping up in the first place. They then step back, they look at the patterns, and they fix the system instead of the symptom. Because when you start talking about what's upcoming, what will break next, what needs to be built, and what should happen after that, you stop sounding like someone just doing tasks, and you start sounding like someone setting direction. And that's when promotions start to make sense to leadership. And here's the part most people miss: even if you make your work visible, and even if you start thinking ahead, none of that works if you just can't manage your own time and energy. Because leadership isn't about doing more. It's about showing up consistently at your best. And the fastest way to disqualify yourself from a promotion is to look overwhelmed, scattered, or reactive. And so habit number 3 is this: manage your own time before managing other people. Because before you can manage other people, you have to manage your own time. And before you can manage your time effectively, you have to learn to manage yourself. And this is something I had to learn the hard way. So when I first moved into leadership, I thought managing my time meant doing more than everyone else and leading by example by outworking the team. More meetings, more hours, more availability. And for a while, it did look productive. But what actually happened was this: My energy became inconsistent. Some days I showed up calm and controlled, while other days I was rushed, reactive and frustrated. And whether I realized it or not, that bled into the team. And here's the simple truth that I learned. You can't pour into other people if your own cup is leaking. Because when your time is unmanaged, your energy leaks into stress, impatience, and reactivity. And leadership requires a full cup. And once I started protecting my time, creating space to think, creating margin in my calendar, and being more deliberate about what I said yes to, everything changed. Not because I worked less, but because I showed up better. And from leadership's perspective, that really matters. Because if your calendar controls you, you're not leading, you're being led. People don't get promoted because they're busy. They get promoted because they're stable, they're clear, and they're reliable under pressure. And that stability starts with how you manage yourself and your time. And if that one hits close to home, if you recognize yourself in that constant rush and reactive cycle, you're not alone. This channel is about helping you win at work without burning yourself out and by building the life that you want. So hit subscribe for a new video every week. And up next, I'm going to show you the final habit that quietly accelerates promotions faster than anything else. And it's becoming the person who makes everyone else's job easier. And so habit number 4 is this: make yourself easy to rely on. Because people that get promoted when they make the business easier to run. And I learned this the hard way when I started running companies. I thought value meant being impressive, having answers, being capable and busy. But once you're responsible for people and outcomes, you realize something very different matters. That every leader is carrying a backpack. It's full of problems, decisions, risks, and unfinished work. And some people add weight to that backpack. More questions, more follow-ups, more things to remember, and needing more hand-holding. But there's others that quietly take the weight out. They see something on your plate and they make it disappear. No drama, no noise, no chasing. And that feeling of relief is what leaders promote. Because when someone can consistently lighten the load, they don't just help you, but they earn trust. And the fastest way to move up is to reduce the weight your manager is carrying. So look at what they're responsible for and ask, what can I own so that this comes out of their backpack? And that's not extra work, but that is leverage. And when leadership starts thinking, I don't know how we'd run this without them, that's the point where promotion isn't a reward. It's the only logical step. So let's pull this all together. Because the people that get promoted don't win by working harder. They win by working differently. They stop hiding their work and they make their impact easy to see. They stop living in reaction mode and start thinking ahead. They manage their time and energy so they show up steady and clear. And they reduce friction by taking weight off the people above them. These 4 habits are what actually get you promoted. But here's the part most people miss. Once you start thinking like this, you also have to speak like someone at the next level. Because leadership isn't just about what you do. It's about how you communicate decisions, priorities, and ideas. And these habits change how you operate. But promotions don't happen overnight until leadership hears it the right way. So if you've ever said the right thing but still been overlooked, that's the gap. So watch this video right here. Speak like this to get promoted at work. Because doing the work is step 1. Sounded like the next level leader is what actually closes the loop.